Today I'm going to teach you 5 diet hacks to increase your productivity. And just to get started, I really want to emphasize, if you've been doing all the mindset stuff, you have to understand that productivity isn't just all in the mind. You need to make sure that your body is optimized and in a good place so that you can be productive. And I think right now in our day and age, we're focusing so much on the mind stuff, so much on the environment. And don't get me wrong, all of that is really important too. But if your body is in a really shitty place, good luck trying to be productive. Good luck ever taking action and doing the things that you know that you are supposed to do. It becomes so much easier when your body is functioning in a really great place for you to be able to push yourself and be productive and do the things that you just really don't want to do. Because honestly, if you can't get yourself to that place, you can't be successful, because a part of achieving our goals, a part of reaching our potential in life is pushing ourselves to make sure that we are taking action on the things that we don't want to do, because oftentimes it's the things that we don't want to do are going to get us our best results in life. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisleen. I teach high achievers how they can optimize their brain and body so they can get to their next level of success. Because if you're already in a place where you're feeling shitty, you're stuck in fear, you're in survival mode, you have no energy, you're not feeling good in your body and as how you are, my friend, how are you ever going to get to that next level of success and, most importantly, sustain it? You can't do that if your brain and body aren't in a healthy and strong place. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So tip number 1, I have my little handy dandy tips written right here. Tip number 1 is you need to make sure that you're getting at least 25 to 30 grams of protein with every single meal. I cannot emphasize how important this is. It is such a simple step, but you're not doing it. And I don't know why you're not doing it. 25 to 30 grams of protein. It's easy to get. It's relatively easy. Now, if you are vegan or vegetarian, it's going to be harder. And especially if you're vegan or vegetarian, you're probably definitely not getting this. I see a lot of vegan vegetarians in my practice and they're not getting this. And if you are not supplementing, so if you're vegetarian or vegan and you're not supplementing with some sort of protein powder, you're not getting enough protein in, and it's actually causing you so much more harm. So it's really important to make sure that you're getting that 25 to 30 grams of protein. And why is that? Protein forms the building block of all your hormones and neurotransmitters. Serotonin, your happiness hormone, dopamine, the hormone that's required for reward, GABA, the hormone that's responsible to help you be calm. If you're not getting enough protein, your body literally doesn't have the building blocks for these hormones. Also, having enough protein is wonderful for your blood sugar levels. It keeps you stable throughout the day. So making sure you're getting 25 to 30 grams of protein is so important. So I can give you an example from my life. So this morning, I woke up, I love protein shakes in the morning. They are freaking awesome. Especially, if you're a high achiever, you're probably rushed in the morning. There's so many things you have to do and get done. And I love protein shakes because just of how simple they are. I throw in some berries in there. There's some, veggies like kale in there. I had protein powder in there. My protein powder is 25 grams, which is freaking fantastic. Check mark, got that protein right there. For lunch today, I had a salmon hummus sandwich. Salmon is a great source of protein. And then for dinner later tonight, I'm going to have a sausage and I'm gonna have some broccoli and zucchini. And then I have some chopped up apples and carrots as a snack. And there you go. Just hit my protein mark throughout the day. And I'm making sure that when I actually make my meals, the first thing I literally think about is protein and then veggies. Those are the 2 things I always think about first and form my meal around that, because those are some of the most nutritious things that you can feed your body. So make sure you're getting 25, 30 grams of protein, okay? It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And once you start to calculate it and measure it out the first couple of times, you'll get used to it. And the way too that I want you to think about this is that if you're truly serious about stepping into your potential, you need to get serious about what you're putting into your body, because that's going to have a direct impact and ability on you and your ability to be productive. So make sure you're getting it in. It's super easy. I give all my patients a protein cheat sheet that they can use, but you really want to make sure that you're getting 25 to 30 grams of protein. And if you're vegan, vegetarian, again, to emphasize, you need to probably use a protein powder. I had so many people telling me that they don't want to use protein powders because it's fake and it's not a supplement. And I'm like, well, then you can struggle. You can go ahead and struggle if you don't want want to do that, because unless you're really being calculated about your protein through food, I think a protein powder is a great way to get that excess protein in. Now, number 2 is you want to make sure that you are snacking on healthy fats, my friends, not snacking on carbohydrates and sugar. So that cookie you want in the middle of your workday, no. Those bag of chips, no. Stop turning towards extremely unhealthy processed foods as snacks during the day. It's like the absolute worst thing that you can do, because what's happening is that you're getting this giant blood sugar spike and crash. And then also what you're doing is, because you're eating something that's highly processed and addictive, you're setting yourself up for the rest of the day to have these cravings. And I don't know if you know this, but sugar literally activates the same pathways in our brain that drugs do, like cocaine and heroin. That's how addictive it is. These processed foods, that's how addictive they are. And once your like mouth has like a taste of it, that's it. That's what it wants for the rest of the day. And so you really want to make sure, especially during your working hours, avoid these foods, like please. And instead, if you feel snackish, because don't get me wrong, we all get a little bit snackish, snack on healthy fats instead. So fun fact, your brain is actually 70% fat. So very important for your brain to have fats. And when you even think about like your nerve cells, those like brain cells and how they're connected via fat. So if you want your brain to think faster, process information better, problem solve better, you need healthy fats in your diet, because when your brain has those nutrients, those cells, those connections are essentially strengthened and your brain literally becomes stronger. So healthy fats are things like nuts and seeds, my favorite absolute things to snack on. I will always have a few on hand. Sometimes, if I end a work day late and I'm coming home and I need to cook dinner and I'm like starving, I will have like a quarter cup of cashews or almonds or a mix of them, and that will just really help me last until dinner is ready and made, instead of me binging on food that's at home. So you really want to opt for these healthy fat type snacks instead. And so what you can also do too is, keep some of these around. Like if after lunchtime and before you go home, like you feel snackish, put some healthy nuts and cashews and things like that around, instead of, opting for junk food, because it's seriously not good for you. And I know it's really hard sometimes, because if you're in a work environment, sometimes your work orders these things, but you really want to stay away from these like processed like snacks during the day. They're just so awful for you. And once in a while, if you do want to have, say, like a cookie after lunch, make sure you eat a really nutritious lunch and then have the cookie right after, instead of having it between meals. It'll really minimize the blood sugar spike, and you will notice a significant difference in your energy and ability to concentrate. So no more snacking on processed foods, snack on healthy fats instead. Other healthy fats are things like avocados. I will sometimes take like 2 shots of olive oil if I ever get a little bit hungry. Olive oil is a fantastic healthy fats. Proteins are also pretty good to snack on as well, right? You can always combine the two together as well. Now, tip number 3, diet hack number 3, is to make sure you are eating breakfast within the first 1 to 2 hours of waking up. Now, for some people, this can be really difficult, and you might be in this category. I hear it all the time that, oh, Dr. Priscilla, but I'm not really hungry in the morning. Couple things here. Number 1 is you really want to make sure you're not having dinner too late, okay? Ideally, you want to make sure you're having dinner at least 3 hours before bedtime, so that your body can properly digest the food and you're not having big blood sugar spikes in the middle of the night that are going to wake you up. And really, if you end up having dinner 3 hours before bedtime, you should be waking up the next day feeling hungry. You really should be. And I find that for so many of us high achievers, we're completely skipping breakfast. We're running on caffeine, and we're running in this fasted state on caffeine. Our cortisol is freaking through the roof, and we're starting our mornings off so stressed out. And that is not the right foundation to have for the rest of the day. So you really want to make sure that you're having breakfast. You're giving your brain those nutrients in the morning. I'm highly against high achievers fasting in the morning. I used to be a high achiever that fasted in the morning, and I noticed such a big difference in my ability to be productive, my energy, my mood, now that I'm actually giving myself a high protein breakfast within the first 1 to 2 hours of waking up. So you really want to make sure that you're doing that. And also think about it like this, right? Is that when you wake up in the morning, You need your brain energy the most then, because you're going to be doing tasks during the day. You're going to be working. You don't need your brain energy the most at nighttime when you're going to probably Netflix and chill on the couch. And this is why if you want to skip a meal, I always say skip dinner instead of breakfast. Better meal to skip. And even the long-term research shows like fasting, when it comes at least specifically to weight loss, skipping dinner at night is so much better for you than skipping breakfast in the morning. Skipping breakfast in the morning actually leads to more binge eating and cravings later on during the day. So supported by research, not even just me saying it. So you really want to make sure you're having that breakfast within the first 1 to 2 hours of waking up and training your body for that. You'll notice a massive difference in your energy, your ability to concentrate, your ability just to be calm during the day instead of running on empty. Okay, we don't do that to ourselves anymore. Now, diet hack number 4 is you really want to make sure that you're setting out 15 minutes to properly eat food without distractions, especially in the middle of your day. What happens to so many of us, especially when it comes to lunchtime, is like we're eating that sandwich or whatever it is, and we're watching something, and we're so distracted and not at all in tune with our body. And what ends up happening is that you eat a meal and you're like, I ate a salad, why do I feel like shit? It's because your body was in that sympathetic stress state. So your nervous system was in the stress state. And by the way, when your nervous system is in the stress state, it's not going to digest anything. Because when your nervous system is in the stress state, it's like constricted. It's like so constricted and tight, and it's not going to digest anything. So instead, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're in that parasympathetic calm state. You're actually in tune with your body. And when you are in tune with your body, everything's like relaxed. It's relaxed, it's feeling good, and your digestion works 100 times better. And why this is so crucial for you, especially if you're a high achiever, is because if you're in that sympathetic stress state and your digestion is not working properly, you're gonna feel bloated, you're gonna feel heavy, you're gonna feel sluggish, even if you literally had the healthiest meal. And this is because your body wasn't able to properly digest the food because it was in that sympathetic stress state. So when you actually carve out 15 minutes is not a lot, okay? You should be carving out 15 minutes during the day to eat. And what you want to do, and this is the process, it's actually, a version of intuitive eating, is you want to take a moment to take a breath. I always take 2 to 3 deep breaths before I start eating as like a reminder to my body that we're about to eat food. I also say a little prayer to God and just express gratitude for my food. And then as I'm eating, I will chew the food until it feels mushy, and then I'll put down the food between every bite. So if I'm eating a sandwich, I put the sandwich down between every bite and I chew my food, and then, take another bite of that. It's really the process of slowing down so that your parasympathetic nervous system can be activated so that your body can properly absorb the food, the nutrients from the food that it's actually eating, instead of being in that stressed out state. Okay, so really set out proper 15 minutes to eat without distractions. It is going to be so transformational for you, and it'll really reduce the bloating, the sluggishness, the tiredness that comes from eating food sometimes, especially at lunch, because it's really after lunchtime, everybody's like, energy goes down, right? And we really want to prevent that with you, because you can have that consistent energy all day long without relying on caffeine. And I'm saying that because I've been there and done that. And then the last diet hack that I have is that I have a little bonus one afterwards too, is that you need to stop overeating. Seriously. You really need to stop overeating. I was so guilty of this. I cannot explain to you, like I was the queen of emotional eating. Like I literally remember in university when I used to go through stressful periods, like I remember exam time, literally for 2 freaking weeks, I would have like a poutine or pizza or or something, just something so junky and crappy and awful, because my excuse was, oh my God, it's exam time, I'm stressed out, and I'm gonna let myself eat all this junk food, not realizing the impact and effect it was literally having on my performance during exam time when I needed my brain to be the sharpest. Like I had no idea. And I worked really hard, you all, like really, really hard over years and years and years to stop emotional eating. When I was in naturopathic med school, I would literally get, those like kettle chip bags, and I'm not talking about the little mini bags, I'm talking about the entire bag of chips. I would eat a couple of those entire big bags of chips, like throughout the week. And I'm not gonna lie, like once or twice a year now, I'll definitely have my moments where I'm just like, give me chips, and I will go like chip crazy, just turn into a total like chimp and monkey and just eat those chips like it's nobody's business. But I am in a much better place now, where I'm so much more aware of my cravings when they show up and deal with them in a better way, because I have worked on my mental health and brain health, and I've built better coping strategies in life. So throughout the day, If I'm experiencing a craving, instead of giving in and getting that cookie, I go on a walk. I go meditate. And also I take deep breaths and meditate all throughout the day. That in general has reduced my cravings because I'm not acting from that stress state in general. But you really need to stop overeating, because when you do overeat, what ends up happening is that all the energy and resources from other areas of your body, the blood, everything, it flows to your digestive system, because digestion is actually a really tough process on your body. It takes up a lot of energy to digest food. So now if you're overeating and not in tune with how much food and portions you're having, your body's having to work that much harder, and then good luck ever concentrating or focusing on any of the tasks that you need to get done during your workday. So be mindful of your portions. And this is where the step that I said before is taking up proper time to eat your food is really important, because if you're in the stress state, you're not in tune with what's happening inside your body. You're just eating, right? So when you actually take some time to set out to eat your food, you're able to tune into your body and you're able to actually stop. Instead of when you're in the stress state, you're just acting on automatic and not really thinking about what's happening. So we want to take you out of acting on automatic and acting into the conscious. So very important. And the last bonus tip that I have here is caffeine is not a meal. It's not a meal. So if you think that you can skip breakfast and just run on coffee, or you can skip lunch and just run on coffee, what's actually happening is that you're shooting your cortisol levels up and you're putting yourself more in that stress state. And that is going to have a negative impact on your productivity, and it's not going to actually help you problem solve better. It's not going to actually help you perform better. Instead, it's going to keep you in that automatic stress state, and that's going to eventually lead to burnout later on in the future, and that's something that we really, really want to prevent. So these are the 5 diet hacks to increase productivity. Something I really want to emphasize with you, please remember that productivity, it's not just mental. You really need to make sure that you're supporting your body in a really positive way so that you can be productive, you can achieve your goals, and get to that level of success that you want to get at. This isn't just about working harder, it's also about working healthier. And if you want one-on-one support with this, I got you, my friend. All right, book a complimentary 30-minute breakthrough session with me. Let's build that plan to optimize your brain, your mind, your body together at the same time, because when you feel good in your body, when you feel good in your mind, when you feel good as you are, you become unstoppable.